Hi everyone, welcome to Northern Zen Yoga. My name is Sandra, and today we're going to be doing another Yin class. Only this Yin class is going to be a little bit different in that we are going to be incorporating a little bit of movement into the practice just before we hold the pose or the shape for a period of 3 minutes. So the main thing you need to think about when you're doing these different shapes that I'm going to show you is that only go as far as your body can go today. Don't try to force anything. Even if the last time you did this Yin practice, you were able to stretch a lot farther, today is a different day. And you have to always remember that when you're doing yoga practice. A lot of factors are involved in us being more flexible or less flexible in any given day. Depends what we did yesterday. It may depend on the weather. A lot of things affect it. So what I'd like you to do is promise me that you will never put yourself in a position of pain. At any time you're feeling pain, you need to back away from that particular shape that you're trying to get into, or at least modify it until it's just uncomfortable but not painful. So some of the things that I've been hearing some feedback on is that there's places in the hips or the knees where getting into the shape is totally not doable for whatever reason. So what you need to do is you need to find where you can get into this shape, and I will try my best to give you as many modifications on this as I can through the practice, but to get as close as you can get to that shape without going into the pain zone. So for example, in the deer pose that we did the last time, a lot of people had a problem with rotating their leg and pulling the leg back and then trying to put some pressure down to sit on their bottom. So if you're very, very tight in the knee joint or you have issues of your knee, you need to remember that it's not about twisting the knee to get into the shape. It's about trying to get the internal rotation of the hip to take you into that shape. So if you're finding that your knee is really the problem in getting your leg back, you can find other places where you can practice this, where your knee is in a little different shape. I'm going to try to see if you can see this here. So I've got my leg out a little further with my knee just slightly bent. You can even bring the leg in further and just work on pushing the joint from the hip in toward the center, as opposed to trying to pull the leg back and do that. So remember, there's always specific areas that we're targeting in every shape that we go into, and very, very rarely is it a twisting of the knee, hardly ever, and usually I can want to say the word never, but sometimes a little bit of light torquing may happen, but not a lot. You need to know that most of the Yin Yoga practice is going to be for your hip joints. So your joints and your hips have a lot of different ways that they can go. They can internally rotate, where the joint turns inward, and it can externally rotate where it turns outward, and then it can lift up and it can move in and out in this way, and it can move back and forth in that way. So think about what you're trying to achieve, and I'll try my best to remind you what it is we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to feel, and that way you'll be able to get the most effectiveness from the stretch. Never go into pain. That's the main thing. If you're feeling pain in your knees or even in the hip joint that you're trying to stretch, take it back till you just feel the uncomfortableness of all the tendons and the muscles beginning to stretch. And then leave it there. There's no one here that is judging you because you can't look the way that my body looks when I go into that shape. It took me 8 years to get there. So if you're just beginning yoga and you're very, very stiff in your joints, don't expect you to be able to get into that shape today. I don't expect you to even be able to get into that shape a year from today. So it's the journey to get there that's the important thing to remember. So the first shape we're going to go into is one that we're going to lay on our back, and we're going to start to work on opening up the hip joints again. We're going to need a couple of things today. We're going to need a pile of blankets. Any kind of blankets will do. Throw blankets off your bed. You don't have to have Mexican fancy blankets like this or something that you've seen online that's supposed to be a yoga blanket. Any blanket will do, as long as you can fold it up and create a little bit of a cushiony area like this. If you have a couple of them, then you can pile them up and you can add extra height if you need to. A really good investment if you want to purchase something to add to your yoga practice, where is it, is a bolster. Now, a bolster is a lovely cushion. It's very soft and it is firm at the same time, because we want to have support, but when our body is resting on here, we do want it to be able to have a compression ability so that we can go a little deeper into our stretch. So in today's practice, we're going to be doing some movements before we go into the yoga shape. And hold it, and we'll be holding them for 3 minutes. So find yourself your mat, find yourself your blankets or your bolster. Get some warm clothes on, because you're not going to be moving enough to keep your body really feeling warm. And in Yin, it's really important to have a warm body. It helps us to stretch more, helps our body to relax more. So go get the things that you need, and come on back and join me. So the first shape we're going to go into is a lying down pose. So before we do, let's just loosen up the back. Let's just give ourselves a few shoulder rolls, going back and up and back and up. And then we're going to reverse the direction and just do a few coming forward. You can cross your arms like this if that feels good. Just loosening up the back, and then we're just going to do a few neck rolls back and forth, side to side. And let's do some circles gently. Don't go too fast. This is your neck we're working on. Just rolling around, chin down to chin up, and then shift and go back the other way. And then come back upright. So come back down onto your back and get your pile of blankets or your bolster handy. And I'm going to just put this on the opposite side of me, just so it's not in the way of the video for the time being. And we're going to come down onto our back nice and easy. Bringing your knees up as you come down. Just roll on your back until you're feeling nice and comfortable here. Now, another thing you can do if you like is you can put a blanket under you to add more cushioning. If you're finding the floor is feeling a bit too hard, because we are going to be here for a while. So stretch out your left leg, and we're going to hug the right knee in toward us. If you're having a hard time bringing that leg close to your chest, you could use a strap here. You could get a strap or a belt, and then that way you can pull or hold your leg a little more comfortably, or you can hold under here if this is easier to reach for. So all we're going to do here is, as we breathe, when we breathe in, we're going to just squeeze the knee toward the chest, and as we exhale, we're just going to relax the leg. So inhale, squeeze. Exhale, relax. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, relax. And we're going to do this a couple more times. Nice and gentle and slow. And then we're going to just come to stillness. You don't have to keep squeezing the leg, and just hold it in a natural position. And we're going to start to rotate at the ankle. You can start in any direction that feels good for you. Now, anytime your neck is not feeling comfortable, you can always add a blanket, like a little pillow, just to make things a little more comfy. So just keep rolling around at the ankle. Try to point the toe up and point the toe down. And then we'll stop and we'll go in the opposite direction. Don't go too fast. Take your time. It's no rush here. As a matter of fact, the slower you go, the better. Gives your body a chance to start bringing fluid into your joint. It's just waking it up. And then we'll come to stop. And then from the knee, we're just going to make some bigger circles. And this is an important thing to remember. This time we are rotating the knee joint slightly, so don't overdo it. And if your knee starts to get fatigued, stop. Remember, we're never going into pain in Yin Yoga or any kind of yoga. We're always just working toward that achy, stretchy feeling. And let's go the other way, just for a little while. A couple more rotations around. We're bringing the fluids into the joint by doing this, getting the joint moving. And now we're going to use the hip joint to make our circles. So we're going to drop the knee out and we're going to pull it in, going around and round in this manner. Opening up. And only go as far as you're able to go today. And if you'd like to, you can hang on to your leg if you're feeling unstable as you pull it out and push it. You can use your hand to help you to manipulate. Trying to make those circles just a little bigger. And let's go the other way. Inward and out. Opposite direction now. And you're probably feeling like your leg is getting a little tired, and that's good because it's going to have a rest in a second. And if you haven't already got your bolster beside you or your pile of blankets, it's time to do that. I'm going to bring mine out here, and we're going to line it up with the top of our hip, and the rest of it will go out down the leg. And very, very gently, we're just going to let that leg rest out onto the bolster. So if you like, you can flex your foot, if that's possible. We try to straighten out the leg in a straight line if that's possible. But if you need to have yours more bent like this, that's okay too. If you need to have your foot closer to the floor because it's too much for you to open up that wide, that's okay too. You need to find your most comfortable, uncomfortable place. Because we're going to be here now for about 3 minutes. I'm just going to set the timer so we don't go over time. Take a deep breath now and just let yourself relax here. Take a deep breath in and exhaling through the mouth. Take several of those deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Try to resist tightening up. Instead, just allow that achy stretch to happen. As your body relaxes, it will let go a little bit more and it will stretch a little further and you'll feel it start to happen. Don't panic. Just allow it to happen. Feeling tension build up, just take a lot of those long, slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. If you have your eyes closed, begin to open your eyes. A few deep breaths and slowly start to slide your leg off of the bolster onto the floor. Don't do anything sudden. Don't sit up. Don't try to get up. Just lay here for a few moments and just feel that leg. Just feel how it feels. Take a few more nice, long, deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Notice how that leg feels next to the other leg. And now we're going to start with the left leg. We're going to bring the left leg up and we're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're just going to inhale and squeeze, exhale and relax. Inhale and do this nice and slow. Take nice long inhales and nice long exhales. Inhale, squeeze, exhale, relax. Inhale, squeeze, exhale, relax. One more, nice squeeze. Inhale, exhale, relax. And then we're going to work the ankle, so nice and slow. Just going around in a circle, trying to stretch out the front of the foot and the back of the leg. Going in nice, slow circles around. Don't go too fast. You want to be able to feel the joint moving nice and easy. Let's stop and go the other way. In the other direction now. Deep breaths. And we'll come to a stop. And now we're going to work from the knee joint. Just going around in nice big circles. Nice and easy. Make sure you're supporting your leg. It's not just flying out there in space. We want to isolate the knee joint. And we don't want to feel any pain. We just want to feel a nice stretch going up and around. Right around the top of the knee into here. And stop. Let's go the other way. Working the knee the other direction now. If your leg gets too tired, take a break. You want to try to stay with that achy stretch as long as you can, taking deep breaths. And now we're going to move it up to the hip joint. So we're not moving the knee anymore, we're moving from the hip joint. Making circles at the hip. Take your time. Don't rush. And as you do this, try to get bigger and bigger circles. And we'll stop and we'll go the other way now. More times, nice and easy as we go around. And we're going to relax that leg out. And if you haven't moved your bolster, it's time, or your blanket, it's time to put them on the other side of your body. Remember, the top of the pile is by your hip joint and everything else goes down toward the direction of your feet. And just relax that leg out to the side. I'm going to set the timer now for 3 minutes. Take a deep breath in, exhale, inhale, exhale. Focus on your breath. And just let that leg relax out. Try not to tense up if it starts to drop a little bit lower. And remember, you can always play around with bending your knee or the position of your knee in order to get it into a place where you feel the joint opening and stretching, but you're not feeling overstretched or painful. Deep breaths in and out. Very, very slowly open your eyes. And you can start to slide your leg off the pillow, off your blankets. Stretch it out. Don't move. Just relax here and just feel your legs now. A few breaths. The pause we do after each stretch is very important, so please try to have minimal movement in that area of the body afterwards. We're allowing the body to recuperate for a few moments by allowing everything that's stretched out to start to come back in. It's like an elastic that's been stretched, and when you let it go, it has a contraction. And while that contraction is happening, it's important not to put any unnecessary stress on that joint. And then slowly roll over onto your side. Take a few moments if you need to. Before using your arms, you're going to use your arms to push you up into a seated position. So the next shape we're going into is going to be in the opposite direction. It's going to be on your belly. So again, you may need to use blankets or a bolster, or both if you have it. We're going to take this time, the bolster, and we're going to put it near the top of our mat in a crosswise direction. So like a pillow, as if we were going to lay down and have a nap. Only we're going to come onto our belly. So from this position, I want you to simply rock forward, bend your back a little bit, and push back in this manner. We're just going to do a few of these movements. Only go as far as you can. If you're not able to support your weight for very long, just Take it as far as you can and go backward again and forward. And each time you move back and forth, try to drop your hips toward the floor as much as you can. We're just warming up the low back. This area right here where we're trying to wake up the sacrum, wake up the lower vertebrae. And now we're going to go in circles. So moving in a circular pattern. Shifting the hips from side to side. And stop, and let's go the other direction now. And come back. And from here, we're going to get everything ready that we need. So, you're going to take your bolster, you're going to take a pile of blankets, you're going to add one more blanket so that you have this cascading effect. You may even need another blanket, a little bit less high. And we're going to slide our bellies down toward the floor and rest our chest up onto the pile of blankets or the bolster. So you're going to feel your back bend. That's what we're doing here. We're helping our back to have an arch in it. Our hips are headed to the floor, our belly to the floor. This is called supported seal pose. And from here, you can relax, you can lay down, you can let your head rest, your chin onto the bolster itself, or if you like, you can press into the floor and exaggerate the bend in your back a little more. But you need to know that this is your back. I can't feel what your back is feeling like. And if this position is totally not doable for you at all, don't do it. However, there's a few modifications you can do if it's feeling a little bit too strong. You can take away all of this extra stuff and you can come into this position where you're just lifting your chest up a little tiny bit so you have a little bit of a bend in your back. You can put your pillows, you can put your bolsters here. Give your chest something to rest on. So you have your elbows down. And you can do it from this position. But if you're able to get the bigger bend in your back, it's better. So it's up to you. Oops. Like I said, I have no idea what your back is feeling like right now, so you must listen to your body, and you must do what is needed for your back. You want to feel a back stretch. You want to feel a little bit of achy uncomfortableness, but no sharp pains in your back, nothing like that. So once you're into your position, take your time. If you need to put this on pause, that's fine. Take your time. And once you're there, relax, start to take lots of deep breaths. Inhaling through the nose and out through the mouth. And just breathe here. Let your belly get heavy. Let your hips and your belly get nice and heavy. Let your head dangle if you like. Whatever feels more comfortable for your neck, your shoulders. Play around with the position. Find the position that feels the least uncomfortable for you. few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. So we're going to come out of this position very shortly, and it's important that you listen to my direction and that you don't try to get up in any other way than how I am describing. So we're going to wiggle our body back off of our bolster or blanket now and push everything so that we're coming down onto our tummy, and just relax your forehead onto your hands. Deep breaths, breathing right down to your back. Exhale. Follow your breath. Nice big inhales. In and out. Now very carefully, bringing your elbows underneath you, we're going to lift our hips up. So make sure your hips are coming up before your head. And we're going to start to push ourselves back into child pose. So in child pose, you're going to want to have your bolster handy or your pile of blankets. So without too much movement, just grab those, bring them in so that you can rest your head, your chest down onto the pile. Now, you can see my bottom is way up in the air. That's okay. If this is how you're positioned, that's fine. But our goal is to get back here so that we are resting our bottom on our heels. We're going to stay here for 3 minutes. So try to work yourself back as much as you can. As your body relaxes, start pushing your bottom down toward the heels if you can. If you can't today, that's okay. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And just relax here. Periodically, I want you to change the direction of your head. So if you have your head turned to the left right now, after a while, just switch cheeks, turn it to the right, and move back and forth like that throughout the next 3 minutes so that your neck is not stretched only in one direction all the time. Keep taking those deep breaths in through the nose and let them go out through your mouth. Nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Don't forget to switch your head direction. A pile of blankets, stretch our legs back. Just lay here for a few moments. Making sure there's no pressure on your knees, no weight. You can rock your legs back and forth a little bit if they're feeling a bit like they've gone to sleep. And then using your hands to push you up, walking your hands back toward the body. We're going to come back into a seated position. So here we're going to use the bolster or your pile of blankets to sit on. We're going to come into a shape called Shoelace Pose. Now, Shoelace Pose is not an easy pose to do. As a matter of fact, it's quite taxing on your muscles in your hips because it's totally, well, you'll see in a second. So I'm going to get into Shoelace Pose. And this is also called Gomukasana in our regular yoga practice because it's looking, somehow it's Gomukasana means cow face pose, and somehow this is supposed to look like the horns and the face of a cow. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so this is Gomukasana or Shoelace Pose in Yin. And I'm sitting up on a bolster. It actually makes it a little more difficult for me to get into this pose comfortably. But we're not going to go into this pose to begin with. What we're going to do is we're going to work in what's called a half of a shoelace pose. So we'll start with our left leg sticking out in front, and we're going to cross the right leg over, and we're going to drop the knee down toward the other knee. So this might even be hard for you to do. You might be here, you might be here. Just don't put any weight onto your kneecap. If you're going to have to rest your ankle or your foot onto your leg, be either above your knee or below your knee, but do not be resting it right on the kneecap. That's very important to remember. If you can at least get your foot to the floor, then you're going to work on pushing this hip joint here inward toward the center of your body. So you might have to put a little pressure here if this is as far as you can get across. If you can get across more in the shape that I'm in on this side, you're going to feel some tension happening right here in this joint. It's because the hip joint now is rotating inward toward the center of the body, and it's pulling the back portion of our hip joint out, and there's some muscles attached there, and that's going to stretch those muscles. So get into the position that you are able to at this point, and we're going to set our timer for 3 minutes. As with everything, take a deep breath in, exhale, just let everything relax. And if you're holding, you're able to get this leg across and you can hold on to your ankle, you're going to want to try to pull that foot back a bit more till you feel a little more stretch happening here in the top of the hip. If you're not able to, and this feels like just enough stretching that you can handle today, just breathe into it. Nice deep breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. I'm creating a series of videos on meditating. If you follow them, it will be able to help you during a yin practice to find a place where you can quiet your mind down so that you're not feeling like 3 minutes is 3 hours, or you don't find your mind racing away from where you are in the present moment. So take some time to watch. The first video is out, the second one will be out shortly, to just find some exercises you can do to help quiet the mind. For now, during this practice, our focus will be on our breath, breathing in and breathing out. So remember, if you're in any position other than what I am in, you're going to be applying just a little bit of pressure. Maybe now you could just push that joint just a little bit more. See if you can go just a little deeper into that stretch. Or see if you can move your foot a little closer to the floor. And slowly just slide that leg. Take your time. Use your hands to help you. Don't let your muscles do the work now. And just let that leg relax. Take some deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathing all the achiness you're feeling on this side out of your body. Now we're going to switch sides, and as with all things, one side of your body might be a little more flexible than the other, so don't assume that wherever you were able to go to or had to stop at with this leg, that will be the same on this leg. So we have to test the water. We have to bring the leg across and see where it can go. So see if you can get your foot to the floor. Can't get your foot to the floor, see where you can relax your leg in this position, depending on your knee. See if you can get it closer as opposed to further. But if you can get up like this, you could probably bring it down and touch the floor. And if you can touch the floor, how far back can you bring that leg toward your body to help to stretch up here into the hip? So for me, in this particular side, I don't feel too much. I'm going to have to start to lift my leg up a little bit more, or maybe even come off of the cushion. The other side, I definitely felt in the position I was in. Now I'm not feeling very much at all. And you may feel the same thing, that you may feel that you have got yourself into a position here, sitting on the cushion, and you're not feeling any stretching in that joint. Then it's time to come off the cushion and try to bring the leg back a little bit further. And you'll feel a different sensation, I'm sure of it. So wherever you're at, let's get to our spot. I'm going to set our timer for 3 minutes. And begin to take some deep breaths in and out. Inhale and exhale. One thing you're allowed to do in Yin is to moan. So if you feel a moan inside you that's waiting to come out. Let it out. Feel it. And if things have gotten too comfortable, now's the time to start to push things just a little deeper. Move the legs just a little further. In that last minute that we're in here, see if we can get things to just stretch a little further, that we can tolerate the uncomfortableness of it. Some deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then slowly stretch the leg out and just let it rest. And we're going to come into our last posture that we're going to work on, and that is called Firelog. So it's the opposite to the one that we've just done. The one that we just did rotated the hip joint inward. This one is going to open up the hip outward. So it's a lot like sitting in your easy pose or in half lotus. So we're going to begin by putting the right leg down onto the floor, and we're going to have it straight in front of us. So you can also sit on top of your pile of blankets if you like, or your bolster. It's up to you. Being up a little higher will help this exercise to become just a little bit more comfortable. And we're going to take the other leg and we're going to place that foot in the crook of our knee here. So our heel should be just in that place where the leg, the thigh, and the calf meet. And we're going to let this leg drop down toward the foot. Now I'm making it look really easy. Most of you are going to be here, like this. And that's okay. You're going to feel a lot of pressure here into that hip joint. If you're not, and you're able to get down to maybe here, this might be the stopping place for you. Or you might be able to be like myself, and you might be able to compress both of the legs together. If you are able to do this, then your next goal is to lean forward. So you're throwing your weight forward toward the floor. Your bottom must stay on the ground. You can't lift it up in order to do this. You need to be able to still be able to touch the ground, your sit bones, and lean forward. You're going to feel a lot of pressure then happen up into that hip joints. So wherever you're at today, right leg on the bottom, left leg on the top, we're going to sit here for 3 minutes. And breathe. Deep breaths. If you need to, and it's feeling very uncomfortable, and I apologize for not saying this before we started, you can grab a blanket and you can shove it under here to help give you some support for this top leg if it's really high up, or if it's dropping down but it's feeling very, very painful to do that, or it's totally uncomfortable. So use your blankets. You could put a block here if you like, but block, like I said before, the block won't move. It won't compress. And so what we want is we want slowly the body to be able to open, 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 open to help stretch it out. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And we're going to slowly take that top leg off. And we're going to lift the knees up toward the center. Do this very slowly. And just lean forward a little bit. Take some pressure off of your hip joint. Rearrange your legs anywhere that feels comfortable. If you can stretch them out, if you want to stretch them more, that's fine, but we're not moving too much more than that. The material that surrounds our joints to help support and to connect even the tendons and the muscles to the bone is called fascia. Fascia is this very elastic material. It has stretchability. It's full of water. And when we get older and when we're not moving a lot, that stuff starts to dry up. So getting it stretching again, getting it moving can feel uncomfortable. That's actually what you're feeling when you feel that achy stretch. That's the fascia around all of the muscles and the tendons and the ligaments stretching itself. And it's a bit dry, so it wants to bring moisture in there. So getting that moisture into your joints is important, and that's what movement does. Movement brings the moisture in, so we need to keep moving. Okay, we're going to switch sides now. So the leg that you had on the top before becomes the bottom leg. And for some of you, you may even need to have a little bit of support under here. And again, I apologize for not pointing that out in the first round. So you might need to have that underneath this leg, and you might need to have some underneath this leg. But we're going to bring this foot in the front of us as straight as possible. And we're going to bring the other leg up, and we're going to rest it just in the crook of our thigh and our calf. Don't put it on top of the knee. That's pushing the knee pressure down. And if you have issues with your knee joints, you don't want to put any additional pushing into the joint to move it. You might put more on the top than you would the bottom, and that could be a problem. And then we're going to let the other side drop down. You might find again, this side is easier to do or more difficult to do than the other side. That's perfectly normal for everyone. For me, this side is very easy to do. I don't feel too much compression at all. So I need to definitely, for myself, be in a position where I put a lot of weight down toward the floor in order to feel the hip joint stretch. On my body, this side, my hip on this side is very, very loose. It can move very freely. This side is a little more tense. And it was immobile when I first started yoga. It basically didn't move very much at all. So even now, after all these years, I still can feel like there is some tension there. It could be just age, or it could be I need to take things and stretch them a little more. And it could be the same thing for you. You could be in the same position where you are not able to stretch one side of your body as much as you can the other, and then you might be able to do less now than you could when you were younger or even a year ago. And that's normal. Yoga, though, will help to bring some of that back, and that's our goal. Our goal is to get our body moving again the way it used to. Deep breaths in through the nose. About another minute left. Take a few more deep breaths. And we're going to very, very slowly with helping our leg come up. Rearrange them so we bring the knees up. Squeeze them in toward each other. Or stretch out your legs, whichever feels better. And we're just going to let them relax for a minute. Remember to take lots of deep breaths. And now you can arrange yourself to your most comfortable position to get down into your Shavasana position. In Yin, we use star pose, wide arms, wide legs, and stretch out. Put a blanket under your head if you need a little bit for the back of your head, or you can put a blanket over top of you if you're feeling a bit chilly. Get comfy. I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to be doing the Shavasana with you. I'm Instead, I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to take you through a little bit of deep breathing meditation. Help get you relaxed and settle down into your position. So stretch out. Deep breaths in and out. With each breath, feel your body relax. Make sure you adjust anything that feels uncomfortable. Wiggle. If you need to bring your knees up for a few minutes and just rock on your back, you can do that. Try to get the body to soften up again. And then open up your arms wide. Open your legs, make them wide apart in the star shape. And continue to breathe deeply, taking inhales deep, deep down into your belly. And when you exhale, let it go. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Right down to your toes. And then exhale. Inhale. Right down to your root. Place where life begins. Inhale and imagine that lighting up with white light. And exhale. Feel it releasing all of the dark tension that's down in that place. Inhale white light down into the root. And exhaling all of the darkness and tension out. And this time when you inhale, inhaling, lighting up the root and the belly button. Inhale. Feel that whole area from your pelvic area up to your waistline. Just light up with beautiful white light. And exhale any tension and darkness out. A few more breaths like that. Inhale. Imagining your body lighting up from waist to groin. And when you exhale, any tension is released. And now when you inhale, imagine the light lighting up all the way to your diaphragm, just under your rib cage. And when you exhale, all tension is released. Inhaling, lighting up your belly, the whole belly this time, from rib cage to pelvis. Everything is illuminated with beautiful white light. And then when you exhale, any darkness, any pain, any anxiety is released. The next inhale comes right up to just under your collarbone, lighting up your whole chest, your belly, your abdomen, everything illuminated. Beautiful white light. And when you exhale, again, everything that is remaining in darkness is coming out. Any discomfort, any pain. Keep breathing like that, lighting up everything from root chakra to throat chakra. Inhale, beautiful white light. Exhale, all the tension in the darkness leaves you. Breathing a few more breaths like that. And the next breath you take, everything lights up from root all the way up into throat. Your throat lights up right up into your chin. Exhaling all of the negativity, all of the darkness away. Inhale, lighting everything up right up to your lips. And when you exhale, all the darkness goes away. Your next inhale, we're going to breathe light from your root chakra all the way up to your eyes. Your face becomes illuminated. Your throat, your chest, your belly, your abdomen, everything is illuminated with light. And exhaling anything left that feels tense or dark, let it all go. The next breath we take will illuminate our entire body, from our root chakra all the way up through the third eye and out through the crown chakra. And imagine white light illuminating out and shooting out from you as you inhale, and as you exhale, more bright light comes out, because now you're full of light. You're full of happiness, you're less pain, less tension, less darkness. Keep breathing and imagine everything lighting up around you, and this light becomes brighter and wider with each breath, until perhaps the white light reaches out to those in your community or those in your family that you love and care for, and you send them that white light. Send them a little bit of that beautiful energy out to them. Take one more deep breath, lighting up your entire being, from feet to chakras, through the chakras, through the crown chakra, out into your community, to your family, and to the world in general, bringing love and light out to everyone and everything. And slowly, slowly begin to open your eyes. Bring your knees up toward your chest and give yourself a big hug. You need it. You deserve it. And then gently roll over to one side. Doesn't matter which side you roll over to. And spend a few moments there just breathing, feeling this beautiful light that you've inhaled radiating out of you. And when you're ready, you can come and sit and join me in Sukhasana, in easy pose. Whatever your easy pose looks like. I want to thank you today for coming and joining me in Northern Zen Yoga, and taking some time for yourself today to take care of yourself. If you enjoyed this video or any of the videos that I have on my channel, please press subscribe and please share them with your friends. There's a lot of people out there that need to experience what you experience whenever you do yoga. I hope you share it with them, and I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.